Hi everybody, it's Lorraine Murray here at Connected Kids. It's a programme that trains adults to teach children meditation. I'm the CEO of the organisation, and I'm going to share with you an interesting story about my experience of teaching children meditation, and it goes back about 20 years because that's originally when I really started up a mission to try and teach children meditation, purely because there didn't seem to be much activity around that at the time. So I was teaching adults meditation. I'd practiced meditation for a long time. I was engaged in activities of teaching adults meditation, so I was very familiar with that. But I was also starting to try out teaching children meditation because no one else seemed to be offering or doing it, and it didn't make sense to me that we weren't doing it, because I'm sure you, like me, have things from your past, your childhood, where you think, if only I had known some meditation, I would feel a lot better about that now. So that was really my main driver. I didn't want children to experience what I had experienced and was still having to deal with as an adult. So I was really lucky. I got to work in a school, in a local school in my hometown of Edinburgh in Scotland. And this school, it was a what we call a primary school. So it was probably, I think, maybe your kindergarten would be ages. The children in my class were probably about 8, 9, 10, something like that. And we had a dedicated space in the school where children could retreat to, because their lives outside of school were very difficult, and that was because of where the school was located. It was in a very deprived area, lots of challenges going on at home for these children, lots of trauma. And the school had this dedicated space, the quiet room, where children could take themselves when they needed that. And what was also really interesting is that children elected to do this meditation session with me because they had a choice of activities, everything from football to art, and many of them chose to come into the meditation class with me. So that speaks volumes in itself, doesn't it? However, I had this class of about 10 children, and I also had the head teacher who decided to sit in with me in this particular session. And I can remember this boy, so this is why it's called The Boy Who Found His Voice. This boy has never left my thoughts because he taught me such a lot when I was teaching that meditation session. I think I can remember the gist of the essence of the meditation, which was asking the children to think of a colour and to imagine themselves in the colour and breathe the colour in. And then after that, we went on a guided meditation, which was probably, I think it was a magic carpet. I think we went off into these magical lands on a magical carpet. So that was just the essence of it. And when we came back, I would go around the group asking each of the children, what colour did you get? And what was your experience like? What did you feel and see and sense? What's interesting is that I wouldn't do that in that way now, because sometimes when I'm training people to teach children meditation, what we find is that not all children want to share. But at the time, I was quite new to this. I had no one had trained me to do this. I was using my skills teaching adults and trying to adapt it for kids, so I was doing my best. Anyway, so I was going around this group, and I got to this boy. Just as I got to him, the school bell rang and everyone got up to go, and I was like, "Well, hold on, just sit back down. I'd like to hear what this boy has to say." So I asked him his colour, and the colour he got was blue, the kind of colour of the jumper I'm wearing today. And then he went on to tell me all about his meditation, told me what he'd seen and felt, and was able to give me some description. It seemed very normal. It was great. And then everyone got up and left. And the head teacher came over to me as I was tidying up, a little bit in shock, a little bit in awe, and brought that to my attention. And she said, "I don't think you realise the significance of what just happened there, Lorraine." And of course I didn't understand what she really was referring to. She said, "That little boy that you spoke to there at the end, his life is so difficult and so traumatic that he practically lives on the street, and he we refer to him almost as if he were a feral child because of that. But what it also means is that he never talks, he never communicates, he never says anything to anyone, even when he's asked a question. And yet he sat there and described his meditation to you. I didn't know what to say. I wish I could have explained it away, how it worked, but I just didn't know. I didn't know how it worked, but I knew it worked. Something really important had happened for this young person. And that was really, it was really significant for him. And he was teaching us, this is really significant for me, because he was communicating that to us just by sharing what his meditation was about. Now, in reflection of that, with almost 20 years experience of doing this now, I can understand what happened in that session. Because the way that we train people to teach children meditation, it's not just a cognitive understanding of meditation and delivering it. It comes from here. It comes from the heart. And it comes from the energy of the heart. Now, by choosing the colour blue, that's interesting enough in itself because it's the colour of the throat centre. In energy terms, the chakra system, it's to do with the way we communicate, how we express ourselves, the choices we make. What's interesting as adults is that we tend to have a lot of emotional baggage in here if we haven't processed that when we were younger. So we can have a lot of stuff going on in here, and it's quite challenging. So he'd chosen that colour. He'd chosen the colour, not because he knew what it meant, but because that was the colour he needed. He breathed it in, and then his ability to share, to feel safe enough to communicate with me. And I put that down to what I now know and train people in, which is that ability to hold the space for children, the ability to connect to them in a way to meet them where they're at. And it's a very intuitive space, and it's what we teach on the course. So of course we can give you lots of things and ideas and tools. You can read about them in books, of course you can. But this is about really connecting to children energetically from the heart to their heart and allowing them to feel heard and supported and safe. And, sometimes I think people, when they think about teaching their kids meditation, maybe they write it off a little bit, oh, you can't sit still, or they can't focus, or maybe their behaviour is really challenging. Oh, she could never learn meditation. Maybe it's to do with their abilities or lack of abilities. We just kind of write them off and go, no, you can't meditate. Whereas I'm telling you that they can. They really can, because that little boy who found his voice showed me that he could. He really, really could meditate, and he could express that too. And he could show me the impact of one meditation session. Not weeks and months of meditation, just one meditation session. And the effect that had on him and his energy. It's kind of the essence of what we teach in Connected Kids. It's what we do. We're in the business of creating peace. That's what we do. And we train people for personal and professional reasons. But really, we want people to learn the stuff, the facts, the detail. That's great. But to come from here when they're choosing that meditation that really suits where that child is, where that group of children are in this moment. That's what's really important. So I hope this has been helpful. If you've been thinking about wanting to teach your kids meditation, take what I've said and take that into what you're trying to do. Come on one of our courses, read one of our books, or find something that really supports you in this quest, because we're really all in the business of peace. We just need to help children learn how to access that too. But I really appreciate the fact you've listened to this. Thank you so much. I hope that if you're watching this on YouTube, you can put a comment on this video, a question if you want to as well, or send us an email. Reach out to us, send us a message, give us feedback. Maybe share your experiences too that you've had. That would be nice to hear that. Ask us anything you need to know about how you teach children meditation. We know how to do it, and we know it really works, so we hope you'll join us on this. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.